Several crime cases have been making headlines, with serial rapists and murderers finally being brought to justice for their crimes.
Advancements in DNA technology have made those arrests possible, including one in Indiana. Tonight, Eyewitness News' Amanda Mueller takes us inside an Indiana State Police crime lab where they are working to catch a criminal.
I've spent over 2/3 of my adult life wondering if we would ever get a solution.
New technology,
probabilistic genotyping, familial searching, and genetic genealogy,
giving answers to those who grieve.
You know, it was like a gut-wrenching feeling, but there was relief afterwards.
And bringing justice to some who thought they got away with murder. Investigators have used DNA to solve crimes for years. So what changed?
Familial searching, we're looking at databases to find similarities.
Simply put, genetic genealogy and familial searching are using DNA to generate more suspect leads for law enforcement.
We've actually solved 3 cases in Indiana using genetic genealogy.
One of those cases was just last year when investigators in Fort Wayne, Indiana, arrested John Miller for the murder of 8-year-old April Tinsley in 1988.
Sitting there and watching him, and he didn't really show any remorse or anything.
Miller taunted police for years, leaving threatening notes and pictures as recently as 2004.
We developed a profile from a particular sample, and once it went into CODIS and there was not getting any hits.
But that roadblock came tumbling down with the use of a powerful new tool.
He requested genetic genealogy on that particular sample.
So investigators sent the sample to Parabon Nanolabs, which compared it to public genealogy data.
The genetic genealogist developed a family tree. They got it down to investigative leads.
In the end, investigators caught Miller with what they found in his trash can.
The investigator went and was able to obtain a discarded DNA sample, which was brought into the laboratory and compared to the unknown from the case.
It was a match. Part of the DNA process is taking standards from individuals who have had DNA submitted for analysis.
So we have pulled DNA from shirts, pants, hats, masks, cigarette butts, lipstick cases.
In fact, when we swabbed for my DNA, I asked if my lipstick would affect the sample. The answer might surprise you.
We've had car thefts, and inside the cars they have left actually little tubes of lipstick. We have actually obtained a DNA profile from the colored portion of the lipstick.
Using these DNA standards and other data,
hair color, eye color, birth records, death records, marriage certificates, age, all of those things they can take into consideration to help deduce down those family trees to, a few individuals.
A genetic genealogist used this technique to solve the 1992 murder of teacher Christy Marak in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
We don't have to worry about this monster that's been haunting our dreams, coming after us, coming after our kids, families, that kind of stuff.
That monster turned out to be a popular wedding DJ who pled guilty to Marak's murder in January.
We're still like, why? I'm really, for 25 years, I'm still trying to figure out why this all happened.
Parabon Nanolabs and the genetic genealogist used the database GEDmatch to solve Marak's murder. GEDmatch is a public DNA database which is accessible to law enforcement, unlike private companies like 23andMe, which often offer disclaimers that information will not be provided to law enforcement.
As individuals, we have our own responsibility to our personal privacy.
GEDmatch sparked privacy concerns after investigators used it to capture the Golden State Killer who terrorized California with at least 13 murders, 50 rapes, and 100 burglaries.
We found the needle in the haystack, and it was right here in Sacramento.
Laney says that is the type of arrest that can make these databases worth it, giving families much-needed closure and a resolution to those who fought for decades to give victims a voice.
I've got a picture of April on my desk today. It's been there for 30 years. It comes down today. This is over.
Some have questioned ethics of using databases, citing those privacy concerns. After all, you can be found if your relative submits their DNA. Quite simply, Indiana is neither here nor there on the matter, which doesn't mean that law enforcement can, but it doesn't mean that they can't. Amanda Mueller,
Eyewitness News.